So for that purpose, I'm going to go over it again. The board did decide to open with distance learning. According to the governor and the health department, we really didn't have any choice. They did it reluctantly, with the understanding that as soon as the governor and health department allow us to bring kids on campus in whichever form they allow us to, we will bring them on campus. We will be starting, the calendar that got accepted was, we start on the 10th, with orientations being the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Hopefully you've gotten paperwork already for that. If not, you should be getting it soon. We will not have Fair Day off, and that Thanksgiving weekend, you'll have the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday only. They also did approve that they supported me filing a waiver. Before we could file a waiver, we also need to talk to the community and staff. The waiver would be for, first, bringing on our special ed group for instruction. The next we would look at is bringing on those that were, those kindergartners and TK parents that were okay with them coming on campus with the option to still distance learn if that's what you wanted. And the third would be the ones that are EL learners. And then after that, it would be small groups that need intervention. But the first priority would be special ed and TK and kindergarten for those that are comfortable coming on campus. We would still have to do the distancing and the mask for the third on up, and for those that weren't distancing below. So that's kind of where we are at. It wouldn't be an all-day thing. It would just be a partial day to kind of look at them. I haven't seen the waiver, don't know what it looks like. And my understanding is that us in Tulare County will not probably get it anyway because we are in, our numbers are too high, okay? So with that, Christine, I'm not gonna start with you, Damien, I'm sorry. Christina, I know you had your hand raised. You didn't write a question. I think you had your hand raised before we started. So if you don't mind unmuting yourself and asking me your question. Can you hear me, Christina? No? Okay. Well, then I'm gonna start with Damien's question. When we're able to go back to the classroom, at what point will parents be notified if a student's test positive for COVID? So if a student tests positive, the first thing that we'll do is we'll call the county health department and we'll follow their directions that they will do. And then we will notify parents that same day. You won't know who it is, but we will tell you that there was a positive case. If you were exposed, which means less than 6 feet for more than 15 minutes, we will call the parents. So we'll call the health department, we'll call the parents of those that were exposed in the positive case, and then we will let everybody else know that we had a positive case, and that if you were exposed, then you would have received a phone call. Sundell is responsible for turning the names over to the health department and actually helping the health department with the making sure that the testing and all that goes on. I don't know what that looks like yet. We were just told that. So it will be interesting to see what that looks like. Right now, the rule in the health department is that once you test positive, it is 10 days isolation from the day you showed signs. And for those that were exposed, it is 14 days that you cannot come on campus. Okay. The other thing is, just to make it clear, if I am positive and Cindy is exposed to me, she is quarantined off my campus, but Katie was talked to Cindy, but not to me. Katie is not exposed. It's only the ones that were actually less than 6 feet for more than 15 minutes at a time. Okay. But we will go by the health department's guidance. Did I answer that for you, Damien?
Yeah, so the less than 6 feet for more than 15 minutes, does that mean if somebody was test positive in one classroom, not everybody in the classroom would be informed, just the people next to that student?
No, good question. It would be the order of what I go in. I'd call the health department. We would call the health department, follow their guidance, but their guidance will be to call the parent, because we would have to isolate that kid if the kid was on campus. If we found out, if we found that they were positive, then we would, for the health department, investigate who was exposed. We would let the parents know first, and then we would let all the parents know. And it wouldn't just be that classroom. We would let our campus know because we're a small group, so it spreads fast. I'd rather you hear it from me than somebody else. The problem that we have sometimes is to get our all call out, we can do that, but Facebook and Remind work quicker. So I suggest that people get on that because it moves a little bit quicker than the all call. Okay. Next, what is the waiver for? The waiver would be to allow, right now we are on distance learning, so kids aren't coming on campus. However, let me clarify something. These rules don't apply to preschool or the daycare. So the board did approve last night to allow our foundation to still run their preschool on our campus and daycare for what they could manage with their staffing and the distance learning. So we will have kids on campus, but not for Sundell School. So the waiver would be to be able to bring on my special ed kids or the kindergarten kids, because distance learning for the kindergarten kids is going to be difficult. But that would be only for the parents that are interested in bringing their kids on campus. There would still always be the option of distance learning. Okay. For orientation, are we bringing the student that we are meeting? Yes, bring your student. You'll come early, and if you need a Chromebook, if you need a hotspot, let us know, but a Chromebook, a hotspot, and then you'll go to your class with your child. And then they will go over all the information there. And there will be no more than 2 families at one time, and you'll be at opposite ends. They will sanitize. There's 15 minutes between each meeting, so there's time to sanitize, but that means you may want to talk to your teacher more. You will not have that option to do that because we have to get you out and sanitize in time.
Can I add a few things, Mrs. Rufert?
Okay.
I know that you guys will be getting an all call tomorrow night, and hopefully the email will be coming through to you within the next couple of days regarding your orientation. If you're an inter-district, we would also like to see you in the office to sign paperwork. And then if you have a band student or a student in 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade, if they can go to the band room to check out their instruments and or their recorders. So that'll also be happening during orientation.
Okay. Okay, where are we next? Okay, hold on a second. I lost my. Gotta go back up. When will they evaluate the distance learning? Carrie, can you explain, or Carly, can you explain a little bit more what you mean?
Yeah, I just meant more, I mean, is there a special protocol that has to happen in order for the year to change as far as distant learning?
Yeah, the county set it up. There are a certain amount of, they have quite a few things on there. I will try to post it, but there are so many hospital beds available. Our case number has to be under a certain number. They have, I think there was 5 criteria that had to happen for the county. The county has to go down for the governor and the health department to even allow us to bring them on campus. So it is really, it's up to the governor. Then once the governor allows us to do it, then it's how do we open up based under whatever regulations they put on us. Do we have to do A/B day, or can we come back 5 full days?
Got it, thank you.
Welcome. What will the distance schedule be like? Will it be a full 5 days, 5 days a week? Yes. So the requirement for distance learning is we have to take attendance. We have to take attendance this time. So it's 5 days a week. And so that means for TK to kindergarten, that's 180 minutes a day, which means 3 hours a day. That doesn't mean you're going to be on Zoom meetings for 3 hours, so don't panic yet. But it does mean that it is 3 hours of work, including an interaction with your teacher and your peers. Teachers have to conduct the actual instruction part. Aides can jump in and add the supplement and help with it. There can be some time on some software programs and some paperwork that you may do. Each teacher is going to have a little bit different. 1st grade to 3rd grade is 3 hours and 50 minutes, and fourth grade and up are 4 hours. And when I say 4 hours, that doesn't necessarily mean 4 hours of sitting with a Zoom with your teacher. Some of your teachers may actually videotape a lesson and put it on Flipgrid or Google Classroom so that you can look at it at your time and help your child when you're there. They will have Zoom meetings where your kid will need to get on. And I know that some of you work, so that'll be difficult for some of you. You know, if they can at least get on, and if what the teacher has scheduled, you can talk to the schedule, talk to them about the schedule. Remember, my teachers work from 7:50 to 3:20. It is up to them if they choose to change that time. That is a contractual thing for them. They worked really hard for you guys that were there last year. They can't keep that pace up. It is a lot of it, but most of them either have early morning office hours or later office hours, or were videotaping themselves teaching the lesson. That can help you. And then you can always call. We will have instructional aides on hand that can also help as well. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? For orientation, are we bringing the student yes, please bring the student. If a student has symptoms or test positives, when are they allowed back in school? Did I cover that one already? So if they test positive, they are out for 10 days from the day that they first showed symptoms. The health department will give them a form that says when they're allowed to come back. And then if they are showing symptoms, that is a good question, Damien. If they're showing symptoms, that will depend on the health department. But I believe that if they're showing symptoms, I believe that the health department said that 4 or 5 days after not having a fever without Tylenol. What about kids with 504s needing assistance? Where do they fall? They would fall in the same area, Mike, as our special needs kids. So we have instructional aides, and we also have a brand new special ed teacher named Whitney, and they will be checking in and connecting with you and your child to find out how best we can meet the needs through this distance learning. When I say bringing on special ed kids on campus, if we get the waiver, that would include 504 as well, depending on what the 504 is. Is there anything that PTO Sundale Dads Club can do to help get ready for the return on campus, or is there anything distance we can discuss later as if needed? I appreciate that. I don't know how to answer that right now. I think if the need will probably be, I don't know. Let me think about that, and I'll get back to PTO. Cindy, you have any ideas right now?
No, I know that PTO will provide us our luncheon for our staff on the 4th, which is great. Outside of that, yeah, let me do some brainstorming as well, Lisa. I appreciate you and your husband asking that question.
You know, one of the things that might help that we've never kind of thought of is if there are volunteers to help families out that are available to help families out with their kids and doing some of that, there might be some of that. But as far as getting the campus ready, since we haven't been on campus and our maintenance people have been here the whole time, they've been working on it. As far as Chromebooks, we've been buying Chromebooks and hotspots up as much as we can. Some of them are back ordered right now. We've been buying lumens for the teachers to have dock cameras at home. The teachers can work at home or from school, and they have a log they have to keep for Cindy and I. So right now, I don't know. There may be some teacher wish list things they want. I don't think anybody quite knows what they want yet. So we'll see as that goes. But thank you for that. Will speech therapy still be available for students already enrolled in speech therapy? Yes, there will be. Rachel Medrano from the Special Services Department will be will be meeting with those along with Alyssa Harlow, who is the speech therapist. And so Louise last year was the one working with Alyssa to make sure that they will receive services. So they will receive services again. Whitney should be calling you and Alyssa to set that up. Okay. If not, please give us a call. How we handle positive cases that have been cleared by the health department but are still testing positive since people are staying positive for 8 weeks. So if they test positive again, then the same thing goes again. They have that same 10 days. So they have to be released from the health department, or the health department has to say that they can come back before they can come back. Okay.
If I can interrupt,
Sure.
the health department is doing, if people are retesting positive, if they have been cleared and released by the health department, they do not have to go on another 10 or 14-day quarantine as long as you're not having symptoms. So that's why I specifically asked that question, because a lot of employers, some are requiring that you get the 2 negative tests. Others are saying, nope, once the health department has cleared you, everything is fine. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah. We have heard both from that, just so that you know. And the one that I was just, and the reason I said that is we're not requiring 2 negatives, positives. And one of the health department doctors said that one of the things is you're not contagious anymore, but it stays in your system for a while. But we have had, unfortunately, some different, when we call the health department, we've had some different responses. And so we had in preschool, we had an incident, and by the time her test results came back, she had already been home 14 days, which is only 10 days. And so the health department said, we were not going to test you again, so you're clear to go back. I had another one that said they had to get tested again. So, but the last call that I was on, you're absolutely right. That's what they said. So hopefully I'll stick to that, but we're not requiring 2 negatives. When a student goes back, is the foundation going to be able to do? Yes, the school just approved for the foundation to offer daycare. We can offer 6 classes right now because some of my staff is going to be working from their classrooms. And so we have 6 classrooms. They don't have the staff right now to staff that. So they're working on hiring some teachers. If any of you have Sundell alumni that are college-age students and are staying home for online learning and they would like to apply, please tell them to call the preschool. They would be teachers' aides, and then we have to hire teachers. They actually have to have either 2 years of college or pass the proficiency test. We can give them proficiency tests, but if anybody's interested, please let them know. Right now, we only have enough staff to house 3 classes. That would be right now, that would be anywhere from 30 to 36 kids because we have to distance them. We would like to do 6 because then we can break them out by grade level more, because for them to help with the Zooms, if we have to do kindergarten first at one grade level and you have 4 kindergarten teachers, and for first grade teachers, that's 8 different classes they could be doing. So we're in the process of hiring staff. That just got done. Okay, so if you're interested in the after school care, please let the after school care know. There is a priority list. So we do have Sundell Foundation staff, and then kids, and then we have first responders. First responders were both parents are first responders, or if there's only one parent because of a death or because you have sole custody as a first responder, then it's 1 first responder and a essential worker, then 2 essential workers, and that has to be full-time. And then it goes, and we keep going down from then. So that's kind of the order of what they're doing. So please call them and let them know that you're interested in that. Requirements for students include live Zoom. How will they work with? So there's 2 requirements, and I'm just gonna be flat out honest with you guys. There's 1 requirement for grades. You need to participate and the kids need to finish the work. The teachers can record their online as long as everybody in the classroom has approved for that to happen. Then we can record it and post it. If there's 1 person in that class that does not allow that, we can't record that class. Teachers will post their lessons as well. But for attendance purposes, you have to get on a Zoom with a Sundell teacher, or because we're using Zoom with a Sundell teacher, and you have to complete your work. It has to be a Sundell teacher and a peer. Those are the regulations, and you have to complete the work. And that's how they're taking attendance. And attendance is, even though you may think, well, that has to do with money. It doesn't really, because we get paid off of what we had last year, but it does do for truancy. It does do for the dashboard that says it for truant. It goes for SARB, and it does go for interdistricts. So the teachers will send the schedule, and then you need to work with your teacher on how what you need to do. There is some flexibility within that, but work with your teachers. We're willing to work with you. You know, they have their kids too that they have to figure that out for as well. So then the teachers have a bunch of different schedules. Cindy just got them, so she's now just looking at them, and there's a variety of them. So when you get your teacher schedule, if there's an issue, then please talk to your teacher or ask them. Does that answer your question, Carrie, or is there something more you wanted to?
No, that answered my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. The CDC issue guidelines are about all kids that start back in school in the fall. I realize there's some stopping there right now, but CDC also recommends small groups. Yeah, I realize that. The problem is that the governor, so the federal government can set rules and the CDC can set rules. The governor can actually be stricter than that. And we have to follow the governor on that. And so he can trump CDC and the president as long as he is stricter. He can't be less strict, but he can be stricter. And I know what CDC said. I saw that. I saw the video. Somebody sent me, and then I saw it again of the doctors coming out and saying what they're saying. We still have to go by what the governor said. Well, we could break the law, but character is huge for us, so we're not going to break the law. Unfortunately, for those of you working parents, and for the kids that need to be on campus, I get that. My orientations are back to back. Am I able to have both students with me? And yes, you are. So you'll be on two sides of the room, so you can have your families there. And then when you leave, one family will leave, the other family leave, and then we clean that, including the door handles and where you sat, and then the next group will come in. What is the paperwork that needs to be signed for inter-district students? Katie.
I can answer that one. So there's a small change to the interdistrict contract. It includes for both attendance and academic purposes that students have to participate in distance learning. That is now a requirement. And so since we are making the change to the contract, all interdistricts will be signing the new contract. So that is what you'll be signing at the office on your orientation day. And you will receive a copy of that as well.
So academics and attendance have always been a part of it, so we really didn't have to do that. We just wanted to make it specific so you knew. And last time it was pass-fail. This time it will actually be grades. People could be retained. You could lose your interdistrict. We don't want to do that. We want to work with you. We believe me, we know that it's difficult for working parents. My own sons and daughter-in-laws and girlfriends are having the same issues, and they're calling me, asking me what do they do, begging me to retire so I can take care of them. So I realize that it is an imposition. I wish I had better answers for you. I really do. I realize that, and I lose sleep. Cindy and Katie, we lose sleep trying to figure out some creative ways. I know that some people are trying to do some co-ops together to try to help each other out. And I'm sorry. I am sorry. That's about as much as I can say for that. Okay, let's see, go down. If teachers are using Google Classroom, will parents have to access to the student's schedule and assignments with the parent code? No, but you'll get your student's code. So when you have your orientation, you will get your student's code and passwords to everything. Okay?
Marie, I think we missed a few questions.
Did I? What did I miss?
Marie, wait, can orientation be done by Zoom?
It can. Work it out with your teacher. You'll still need to come on campus to get your material and a Chromebook if you need it. Okay? So email your teacher and say you would like to do it through a Zoom. And then you'd still have to figure a way to come in and get everything else. What else did I miss?
Deanne's question, what do we do if we have multiple children that are back-to-back orientation day? Where do they wait while we're in the orientation with our other
Oh, I'm
children?
sorry. They can go in the classroom with you.
We'll also have some chairs that the teacher may set outside, and they can sit outside the classroom. We just don't want them roaming around classroom and playing. So they can either sit in the classroom or right outside the classroom on chairs.
Yeah, and we don't want to have to clean too much because it's tight. Will students be able to meet their teachers in person? All but 2. Our teachers have some, between parents and kids and teachers, everybody has some issues that they're dealing with, but there will be an aide in the class that is going to be working with that teacher, and that teacher will Zoom in. So they will meet that teacher, but just maybe not in person. Okay.
And Janice, I know that who your child's teacher is, yours will be virtual.
Okay, but there will be the aide that is working with the teacher in that classroom, so that your child can still see the classroom, and the teacher will virtual into that classroom. Okay. I think we need to discuss the luncheon. Last we heard, we weren't doing that, so we'll need to get on that quickly. Okay, Robin and Cindy, can you get together on that?
Yeah, I'll be talking to Lisa.
Okay,
Lisa's our
Lisa.
new PTO, yeah.
Okay, got it. When we return to what would happen if a parent brought a student to school knowing he or she was exposed, showing mild symptoms, and are there any consequences for that? No. I can't discipline a parent. The only thing, so when we come back on campus, kids' temperatures will be taken at every entrance. We're going to lock down our school pretty much, and there'll only be 3 entrances. We'll have fences up so that you can't go in certain ways. So there'll be temperatures taken. If a parent gives their kid Tylenol and they don't have a temperature, and later the teacher says, hey, something's not right, they're acting, they can come back down again and get it taken again. Yeah, I mean, I will talk to them. I'll talk to how disappointed they are, and I will call the health department on them. And that's probably about as much as I can do. The thing is that people that think that they can get away with that, this is a small community and everybody talks, so it'll get turned into us eventually, and then we'll have to deal with it at that point. The thing that might happen is, the kid is just checked a little bit more often until we're done. But as far as discipline, I can't really discipline parents, sorry. So, will the kids need to be on Zoom in the morning or afternoons? Will it depend slowly on the teacher? Will there be some type of cohorts for Zoom meetings? Are you talking about middle school, Deanne, or all kids?
All of them.
Okay. Yes to all the above. It will really depend on the teacher. We've given some flexibility on the teacher to work their schedule on what they feel works best for them and their students and their parents. Some, like I said, will be working from their 7:50 to their 3:20. Some will have breaks where they can meet and have office hours in the afternoon. Some will have office hours in the morning. In middle school, they will have, I think what they're looking at is having, I'm not positive, I think Joey's on this call. I think they're looking at maybe having 30 minutes of a Zoom being the language art and 30 minutes being with the other teacher at one time. So yes to that. It just depends on the teachers. I know that 4th grade, they're all looking at doing their own Zooms, but they're all going to be videotaping different lessons. So you may have Miss Warner, but Mr. Dotson may be teaching the math lesson. You may have Miss Benson, but Miss Warner is teaching writing. So they're going to share that.
Terry, there's another, I'm sorry, were you still on that question?
No, I was going to go down the next one for Susan.
There was one that we missed up above,
Okay.
I believe, is from David Ferris. Is orientation required for distance learning?
No. No, it is not. You do need to come on campus and get your first day pack. Well, you're going to be able to do your first day packet online, but there's still some things in that packet that you'll need to get. You'll need to get material from the teachers. So we're going to set up every Friday as a pickup and a drop off. What were our times, Cindy? From 9 to 7? Not from 9 to 7. They'll be outside of your teacher's classrooms to pick up that. Not every teacher will require that, but if your teacher does, it'll be out there. We figured we'd be spread out better instead of right out here in front of the office since things are getting bad. That's if you got to figure, if the governor closes us down and shelters us all in place, I don't know what we'll do then. I'll send out information at that time. But right now, you don't have to do that, but please get together with your teacher because you still need to know what you're doing with your child, what their expectations are, okay? But you could do that through a virtual Zoom with them, work that out with your teacher. Tulare Health Department is going by 10 days after census began. Correct, Susan? Correct. Terry, has the health department given you the decision tree for returning? Yes, they have. We were on well, let me tell you this. We took, one of the superintendents took pictures of it because they said they give it to us later. And so we were taking screenshots of the Zoom. So if you have it printed out and want to send it to me, that would be great because I just have screenshots. Courtney, how would tutoring work if a child needed the extra help so they don't get behind? We have instructional aides that will be working with their teachers. We'll be assessing the kids too to see who needs extra help. And so that may be an aide may be working with you on the best time to get together with your kid. They may be in the Zoom meeting with the teacher and have a breakout session. You can have little groups on the side. They may be doing that. If you feel like your child's falling behind and you're not getting support, talk to your teacher, and then you can always call Cindy. It'll be grades, not pass or fail. It'll be grades for the some subjects, pass and fail for some others. So we'll still be offering art and PE and music, and those will probably be more pass-fail. How will electives such as band and ag be handled? So we won't have ag at all right now until we get back. Band is going to be, so there won't be beginning band, but there will be intermediate band, and she'll be, when you come on campus for your orientation, that's when, like Cindy said, you can check out your instrument from the band room, and then she will be setting up what you guys need to do with that. So she'll be contacting the band. Does middle school follow the 4 hours of instruction, or is it different? It's 4 hours. 4 hours between all the teachers. I mean, not 4 hours for the language arts and 4 hours for the math. It's 4 hours altogether for the day. That doesn't mean that it's only 4 hours. If your kid needs extra help and they're going to get on, if they qualify or get into the daycare on campus, obviously the teachers on campus might pop into that room and help out, or we might have aides popping in. So there's a variety of ways to do that. Thank you, Maritza. That's very sweet of you. We only received orientation times for 2 or 3 kids. By when should we hear from all the teachers? Katie?
All should have gone out today. Cynthia, if you'd like to email me, you can access my email on the website and let me know what child you're missing, and I will look it up for you.
Okay, David, will materials be provided electronically so that on-site pickup not necessarily? Yes and no, David. It depends on the grade level. But if you have the textbooks, you're going to have to come pick those up because we don't have those online. But when they actually have the sheets and you want to print them up, so let's say like you're on kindergarten because it's a lot of writing and a lot of things, and you want to print those up yourself, then we don't want to assume that of you, but then get together with your teacher and tell them that you're fine with them just emailing all those, and you will print them yourself. I think middle school, as you get up, it's going to be more online than actual paperwork. But for any of you that want the material, you don't want to come pick up the material. Because of that, you can ask that. The only thing that we can't do is you would have to do ebooks because we can't, you would have to do ebooks, and ebooks for Sundell, I believe, are 4th grade on up. I'm not positive about that, but we do have a portal through the Tulare County Office of Ed, and that is on our website, I believe, under resources. So your kids could still get books and still take AR test. But for the textbooks, you would have to get that you would have to get that. That would be the only thing. Did that answer that for you? David, did that answer that for you? Yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down? Okay. So no sports whatsoever. No, not right now. We can't, not right now. We don't have summer conditioning. We're not under CIF, so not at this point. Sports, so CIF said that they could do summer conditioning still up until January. Then January they had to do the 10 days. We don't have summer conditioning on campus. We're not really under that, and there is no other school right now that wants to even play. So that's kind of where we're at right there. If we're interested, oops, scoot it up. Oh, I see what happens. Okay. If we're interested in childcare at the foundation, do we email them or call them? You could do either. You could do either. Are hotspots for devices available for all families or for certain requirements to get a hotspot? Nope. If you don't have good internet service, you need for them to, it's for people that don't have internet service, or sometimes you have spotty internet because you don't have enough bandwidth to do the streaming for all your kids. So if you need one, you just need to let us know that you need one, because we need to, right now we have 20, because that's all we needed. We didn't need 20 last year, so we ordered 20. So if we need more, we need to get on it fairly quickly. So we probably should do a remind Katie and Cindy tomorrow to get, or tonight, to get that out to parents if they need that, to let us know ASAP. Thank you for asking that, Laura. I didn't even think about, Amber.
Amber, if you guys are in need of one, please send me an email. My email is on the school website.
Okay, thank you, David. The other thing is, don't think that, oh, we have one device. You're not going to be able to be one device and you work from home and have all your kids be on the devices too. So don't think, well, yeah, we have money, they're going to think we don't need it. That's not at all. My own staff checked out Chromebooks because they have multiple kids. So please don't feel bad about that. And my own staff has taken out hotspots because they have spotty internet. So please don't worry about that. But it is only for our Sundell students. Unfortunately, is not for Sundell alumni. Okay. Can we pick up Chromebooks before that day of orientation? Do we pick that up in the office? If you come early, you can pick it up early. We won't have them ready. We're pushing to really even have them ready for that day. So unfortunately, Carrie, I don't think you can pick them up. You might be able to pick them up in the morning of that day if you don't have your, like you could come pick them up on Wednesday, even if you don't have your meeting until Friday. But we're pushing to have them already. We just got them back, and we're fixing them and updating them and doing all that. Terry, this website works fantastic for online reading AR kids. Thank you, Brent. Do you guys see that from Brent? It's an online site. So we'll make sure, Brent, if you could forward that to Katie so she could put it as one of our resources on our website. We have, and then on our Facebook page too, but on our website, we have our resources that you can do, and it's kind of under those things. So we'll make sure we have that. But if you don't mind, Brent, make sure that she has that. Thank you for that. My niece had COVID a couple weeks ago and never had a temperature, so they can still have, what will the protocol be if a student is exposed for the rest of the class that's around positive students for a teacher? Will they be doing elective sports? Okay, so let me ask first. Yes, one of the people that tested positive in the preschool, there's nobody positive right now, was asymptomatic. So I am aware of that. We won't know unless they get tested, and once they get tested and they're positive, and then we'll let you all know. I mean, we can't let you know who is positive. That would be a violation of HIPAA requirements, but we can say there was somebody. We might even say, just in case word gets out, there was somebody, the 14 days are already passed, we didn't know about it, sorry, and then you can make a choice. I think I said this, but because it was somebody in the preschool that I was exposed to, the health department made me get tested. And by the time my test came back, it was already 23 days past the time that I was exposed. So I could have come back, but I had to wait for my test to come back. So, and it came back negative, but if we don't know they have it until they tell us, and and could people have it and not tell us? They could. If they get tested, then it's supposed to be turned into the health department. The health department is trying their best, but they didn't plan for this too, so they don't have the personnel. They're trying to hire more and keep up with this. That's why they're asking the nurses at the schools, Robin and Deanna and the rest of the nurses there, to kind of help out and for schools to help out. So I'm the liaison for the health department. And so they're asking us to help out. They just don't have enough to get that around. They're trying though. Even if it's a teacher, it doesn't matter if it's a staff member or any of that. If we were on campus and the preschool had gotten in that, like we communicated with the preschool staff, we didn't communicate with the Sundell staff because nobody was on, the Sundell community because nobody was on campus. We just communicated with the people that were on campus that were exposed. We'll be doing electives of sports for the 7th and 8th graders, not while we're doing distance learning, except for band. I do believe that Kim Tyler is going to do leadership. She's going to get them together for leadership. I don't know what Joy's going to do with yearbook, but that will be.
I know, Mrs. Rufert, I know Joy would like to do some yearbook meetings as well.
Okay, so those will all be virtual. But as far as electives, we won't be doing any of them until we get back. Will we be doing honor roll? Yes, we will still do honor roll. You will get Cindy's and my famous virtual honor roll, saying the names. We should probably videotape that so you could watch how many times we mess up and then start laughing.
Yeah, we'll have to post the bloopers.
Yeah, we start laughing and but yes, we will still be doing that.
A lot of bloopers.
Yeah. So Katie's basically saying we're not very good at it. We'll still do character counts, we'll still do honor roll, and we'll still do some goal setting. So we'll do all of that. We want to try to keep it as normal as possible. So we'll still be doing that. Cindy and I will still be going in and out of Zoom meetings and checking on work. Our counselors, our psychologists, our speech therapists, our RSP, our 2 social workers will all be there to help. So if you have a student that is really struggling being home, is depressed, please contact us. They will get in contact with you. We have some staff members, some specialists that are fine coming out to your home as long as you're fine as well. There have to be something that you sign and a temperature check, but they can do that as well. Orientation to 2 families at a time. Yes, no more than 2 families at a time. On opposite ends. So one family will come in and the other one will come in. What if a child is not able to log into the scheduled Zoom meeting but finishes the required work? Amenta, work with your teacher, work with your teacher on that. There's different ways that they'll be able to communicate with you. So if you're unable to log on, then whether it is Dojo or texting or emails, however you're going to communicate with your teachers, make sure they know that so they can work with you on that. And then they have to, you would still be absent, so they have to connect with you. So the teacher has to connect with you, whether it's by phone or Zoom. So, and if it continues, then we need to figure out what the problem is, so it's not a problem. Because really, you shouldn't have to teach your kids, but we're trying to do as much as we can. Do you need families that have been housing school animals over the summer to continue doing so? That's up to you, Brad. If you don't mind doing it, you can, but Penny's on campus now every day, 8 hours a day, so she'll be able to take care of them. But you're more than welcome to bring the animals back and we'll take care of them. If it's something your family enjoys and you like doing, then work with Penny on that, email her. How do kids apply for leadership? Jenna, good question. I don't know. Cindy?
I know that we already have that class established. So honestly, I don't know how Mrs. Tyler did that in the springtime, but I know we already have those students determined. Whether she has contacted them, I'm not certain. But I know we do have the students determined.
Didn't they have to fill something out that they were interested in last year?
It's an application process, and they have to get teacher signatures as well. And so that all might have happened before we went on distance learning, or if she did something virtual with them. I'm not 100% certain, but I do know that typically the process is an application process.
Mrs. Avila commented saying that Mrs. Tyler had them apply during distance learning.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Avila.
Thank you. If you're brand new to Sundell and you're interested either in band, because you've been band wherever you come before, or leadership, then leadership is Miss Tyler, Kimberly Tyler, and band is Dio Barcelos. You can either email Cindy or I, and we'll pass on that information to them, or you can contact them through their email. We're getting close to the end, so let's see. I just went too fast. Provided that the state allows on-site to resume, is there a contingency for families that are not comfortable? Yes, you'll be able to still do on virtual learning at home. So you'll be able to do that. How is that decided? That's decided by you as the parent. So believe it or not, parents, you do have some rights for some things. So you do have a right to keep your kid home for now. He's allowing that to still happen for that online distance learning if you're not comfortable. And if you're inter-district, do you lose your inter-district? No. If you're not comfortable, you're our family. If you don't do the work, you could lose the inter-district, or if you don't attend. But otherwise than that, if you feel more comfortable being home, or you have a situation at home, all you have to do is let us know when we come back on campus, you know, that I feel that based on my situation at home, that it is best for my child to stay home, and that's where it goes now. Once the governor doesn't allow that anymore, then we'll have to discuss that, because then we won't be able to allow it. So right now we can count that they allow us to do that. Thank you, Monica. Will attendance be taken when they join the Zoom meeting each day? Yes. In regards to teachers setting their own schedule, what exactly does that mean? Zoom times are determined by individual teachers, but they will land sometime between 8 and 3. Yes, teachers get to set their own schedules. No, their contractual time is 7:50 to 3:20, but a lot of teachers have chosen to do different schedules. Some are going a little bit later. Some are giving earlier morning time for parents that want to get on in the morning to get their kids set before they go to work. So there's a variety of schedules that the teachers are doing to make it work. I don't know of, right, I haven't seen the schedules exactly, but I'm just saying that it could be from 7:50 to 3:20. But there are a bunch of, they're all different. So, so when I'm saying they're setting their own schedules, meaning that the teachers are 7-hour employees, 35 hours a week. And so we're giving them flexibility to work from home or here to meet their needs, to meet your needs, and to try to get you guys all back. So to get everybody to where we can be to a place where we can get everybody back. So to work with all that involved in all that, they're trying to work it out. So even if you have your orientation and there's a schedule, because of how everything happens and goes on, they may tweak it and say, okay, look, I'm going to start later in the day because this works better. So we have till September 1st to kind of tweak things and make it work. Okay. For parents of inter-district kids, how are we supposed to volunteer? Do we need to volunteer? Christina, good question. So we can't really hold you to that right now. So we're not looking at that. However, if you want to, you don't have to. But if you want to ask your teacher if you can help, and you've worked in the classroom before, the teacher may have a breakout session with you in Zoom. They can break you out into groups, and maybe they have you working with a group if you've worked in the classroom before. But you don't have to. We're not expecting anybody to volunteer, and even when we come back on campus, there's a good chance we can't have you on campus anyway. So inter-districts, don't worry about that right now. Okay. And just by the way, when we come back on campus in our districts, we realize that we're going to have to be flexible with attendance. Okay, so don't panic, and also don't think that if you're a parent that asks too many questions, your kid's going to get kicked out. We don't kick out the kids for you, and I'd rather you ask questions and get it from us than just to assume. Okay, we're right at 7:30. Is there any last questions? Did I answer everybody's questions? Was there a clarifying question? Okay, so we will have this recorded and we will post it. Once again, I know a lot of you say I'm not on Facebook, so can you do it other ways? We only have a limited amount of things that we can do with Remind, but I
will post this to YouTube tomorrow because it'll be a large video and it'll take some time to do. I'll post it to YouTube, and I will post the YouTube link on Remind, as well as on Facebook, on the Facebook page and the Facebook group.
Katie, will the teachers have the papers they need to sign for interdistricts?
They will be in the office. Please stop by the office.
Yes, every teacher, we're using Zoom. We try to use Google Meets, but it doesn't have the same capabilities as Zoom, so we have the Zoom. So I do want to tell you this. If it's not your kid's name, like right now I'm looking at iPhone, you will not be allowed, that kid will not be allowed to enter into the Zoom meeting. So those first couple of Zooms, the teachers were going to have to teach you how to put a name assigned to that. It either needs to be the parent name so we can see it, or the kid's name. And the kids will have to have their picture up so that we can make sure there will be a waiting room in there. The kids will need to be addressed appropriate, have their appropriate place, not be laying on their bed and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to teach the kids how to do a background. So then if you have people walking in the background, unless they get too close, you can't see them. Okay. Let's see, did I miss anything else? You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Yes, every teacher will have a Zoom meeting. You're welcome, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, no question is a dumb question. Ask if there are some things that you were curious about that had nothing to do with reopening, you want to know. Don't hesitate. Some of you private message me on Facebook. Katie answers questions. Some of you, because you've been on 8th grade trips before, happen to have my cell phone number. You can email me. I will tell you that I'm having a hard time answering emails as quickly as I do because there's so many Zoom meetings. We've been on so many Zoom meetings. So I find that I'm answering at 6 and 7 at night or the next day. And even on Facebook, if you notice, I haven't been replying quite as quickly. So be patient with us on that.
I was just going to chime in with that too, Terry. Yeah, feel free to email me as well. I know sometimes your email might go to my junk or my spam. So if you don't hear back from me, I'm working on 24 hours response, then call the school and let them know that you're trying to get through, and then I can maybe shoot you an email. So never hesitate, email, call, so we can get your questions answered.
Yeah, I am working on 48 hours. As soon as we get back in school, I don't have any online, then I'll be back to 24. Can we get the form for the Chromebooks online?
Yes, it is available online. If you already received your orientation email, everybody should have received them by now. There's also it'll say click here, and the here should be blue. You'll just click it. I will also post that link on Facebook so that everybody can get it. And we will have hard copies in the office if you don't have it with you.
How long will orientation take?
45 minutes. It's the scheduled time.
Is Zoom the only platform, or is it left? Nope, it's Zoom. So it will be Zoom, Google Classroom, and Flipgrid. Okay, so if they're going to do a different, like Seesaw or something else, they will have something that you can click on very easily in Google Classroom and not have to have all the passwords and all that. Okay. Okay. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for being so understanding and kind to each other and patient. I know this is not easy for you. Believe me, I do. If there's something that you think we could do for you, or you just need to vent or cry or whatever it is, don't think that you can't call and do that as well. I might not be able to help you. Cindy might not be able to help you, but I might. When it comes to technology, I will do my best I can, but Katie Biangone up there at the top is our go-to person. Your teachers, we have Donna Lill, Michael Fan, and Joey. So thank you.
Hey, I just want to say Sundale rocks. I mean, 100 parents on this is amazing. So good job, and thank you for your time that you guys have given.
Yeah, and thank
Bravo
you for being
to Sundale.
positive. Let your friends know, the Sundale people know, that this is posted, and that we'll post it on YouTube and everywhere else, and we'll send a reminder as well that it's posted. And then other thing is, if you guys want to work together, you can do that. I cannot, those of you that send me people that I do not know that can tutor, I cannot post that on our Facebook page. So if you wonder how come your email or your posting hasn't been approved yet, it's because I can't post that. If you're parents and you want to say, hey, I'm willing to help somebody else out, I think Sue Cox says that she has some room and she's willing to help people out. As far as parents getting together, that's fine. You guys can work that out. But if I don't know the person, even if you know them, I just can't do that. Okay. But you can talk offline. You can say, hey, I have somebody offline, talk to me offline, and you can do that. Okay? All right, you guys, thank you. Have a good evening. We will make this work. And let's just hope and pray that we can get back sooner. And then those of you that want to keep your kids home, feel comfortable with still keeping your kids home, okay? And that you don't feel like, you know, that you're being treated differently. I hope not. I value each one of your differences. Your reality is your truth. So whatever your reality is your truth. And so I just honor that. And so does Cindy, and so does Katie. All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, I get that, Maritza.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Brent, for being on.
Thank you. Lisa, tell Joey we missed him.
I do feel for you. If my 3 boys were home, I'd probably be in the nuts ward.
Deanne too.
I know. They were fighting all the time. I mean, well, my 2 birth ones were fighting all the time. I don't know what I do. So I feel for you. Okay. I'm just staying on until everybody gets off in case anybody has a last minute question. Good night. Thank you, Christina. Bye, Laura. We'll be thinking about you, Maritza. Like the scenery, Laura. Pretty. Okay. Any last questions? Bye, Jenna. We'll see ya. Okay, I'm going to end the meeting and then we will post it. Bye. Bye, Claudia. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.